You know what time it is. Happy Thursday. And welcome to the Tea with April. Sip some tea with me. We're going to knock the pot over today. We got a lot to talk about. First of all, I want to thank you for joining yet again. The contrarians and my tears, thank you for coming. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to call your friends or text your friends, do whatever you do to communicate with your friends. Tell them to come on in because we got a lot to talk about today. Today is a huge day. It's a big news day. And first, we want to remind everyone that we are on Substack. This is the Tea with April. Tell your friends, but also don't forget to subscribe. Now, here's what we're going to do. We got a big day. We're going to get into the day. I want to start off the news about Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi is retiring from being a political leader in Congress. 40 years, 4 decades. That's 4 times. She has really made history on so many levels. She gave her announcement today. I talked to someone here in Baltimore, Maryland Congressman Kweisi Mfume, who has worked with her and knew her also somewhat from her early days. See, Nancy Pelosi, before she went to California, she's a homegirl from Baltimore. Yes, Baltimore, Maryland. She is not new to this. She's true to this because her family, it was very political. Her father and her brother, the D'Alessandros, were mayor. Her father and her brother were mayor of the city of Baltimore. And she's from Little Italy in Baltimore, Maryland. Nancy Pelosi even has a street in her name. So we claim her as well. She's got that Baltimore spirit. And Congressman Kweisi Mfume said, you know, one of the main reasons why she's walking away, retiring, not looking for reelection is because 4 decades is a long time. And Mfume also said that she had looked to this just past election as one of the markers to determine if she should retire. And indeed, there were wins. So she said it's time. And with that, you know, she said goodbye. I'm going to go out with a bang, finish out this year, and not go for reelection. And I want you to take a look at her speech today, letting her San Francisco residents know that she was no longer going to seek reelection.
That is why I want you, my fellow San Franciscans, to be the first to know. I will not be seeking re-election to Congress. With a grateful heart, I look forward to my final year of service as your proud representative. As we go forward, my message to the city I love is this: San Francisco, know your power. We have made history, we have made progress, we have always led the way. And now we must continue to do so by remaining full participants in our democracy and fighting for the American ideals we hold dear. In doing so, we ensure that our city shines on as a beacon of hope, justice, and peace for the country and for generations to come.
It's not just for San Francisco, it's for all of this country. Know your power. And Nancy Pelosi has indeed held the seat of power. She is a woman who didn't talk about the glass ceiling. She talked about the marble ceiling. Glass is easy to shatter. Marble, you have to chip away at it. And she opened that marble ceiling for herself and other women. And, you know, even in the midst of the history, though, there are naysayers. And of course, at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, in his normal style, Donald Trump had something to say. He said, I think she's an evil woman. I'm glad she's retiring. I think she did the country a great service by retiring. Sore loser, it seems. But let's look at this. Nancy Pelosi has gone viral several times when it comes to the president, this president, be it the first term or the second term. I want you to take a look at some of our most famous moments we've seen with Nancy Pelosi and Donald Trump. Take a look. He saw the replay of that. He was so angry. I'm telling you, that was one of those viral moments. You said, go ahead, Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi from Baltimore. That's Nancy Pelosi. That was a Baltimore move. I know California calls her their own, but that was a Baltimore move. I loved it. It was bold. It was brash. It was very street. I loved it. And but here's something I want you guys to know that Nancy Pelosi is beloved by people in Congress, particularly Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Take a look.
Well, Speaker Pelosi is an iconic, historic, legendary, transformational leader who will go down in history as the greatest speaker of all time. It's been the honor of my life to be able to serve with her, to be mentored by her. She's an amazing colleague, and the country is better off today because of what Nancy Pelosi has done during her decades of public service.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
For 4 decades, 40 years. That's a mighty long time. And to celebrate the service of Nancy Pelosi, I want to bring in someone who's also a trailblazer herself, and she's still serving. And I'm going to let you know power means service. And I'm talking about none other than the great mayor of Oakland, California, Barbara Lee. Hello there, Madam Mayor.
Hey, April, now you got to come back to Oakland now. That's the first thing I'm going to start off with. But
you know I'm coming back. I'm trying to bring the team. We're trying to come back. And we're so thankful to have you. Oakland is just a stone's throw from San Francisco. You've been partners with her, not just flying back and forth on the same plane sometimes to DC, but you've been partners with her on many issues, particularly as it comes to the people and working for the people. Can you talk about that special relationship you had and what you saw in her?
Let me just say, April, I'm glad you ran the footage of her tearing up that man's speech, because I was sitting right there in front of her. And let me tell you, you said that was so Baltimore. Well, that was so Oakland. That's how we wrote. Okay. That was exactly how we wrote, sending a message that we're for the people and for our democracy. And Nancy Pelosi certainly has been for the people and protecting our democracy for 40 plus years. Now, I met her in 1984, when Shirley Chisholm came to the Democratic Party convention in San Francisco. That's when we started the National Caucus of National Political Caucus of Black Women. And so I've known Nancy for many, many years, both before Congress and also when she was chair of the state party. And of course, now as our speaker emerita. And I have a lot to say about Nancy, but I'll try to summarize it quickly. First of all, I've been in rooms with Nancy when nobody else was there who looked like me, okay?
Yes.
And she listened. She was a woman who really helped women, of course, and Black women and women of color break many glass ceilings. She broke a glass ceiling herself, a big one.
Yeah.
But
marble ceiling.
Yeah, marble ceiling. You're right, or cement, really, for Black women.
Yeah.
And she helped so many of us through our journey also, and continues to do so. Secondly, in those rooms, though, as speaker or as leader, she never forgot her constituents in San Francisco. Now here she's juggling and negotiating, and I'm sitting right there because she appointed me in leadership there. Never been a Black woman in leadership. And with her, seeing how with the big stuff she was doing nationally, globally, she was still looking out for San Francisco and her constituents in California, okay, which tells you something about her. She never forgot from when she came. Secondly, let me just say, the Affordable Care Act would have never passed had it not been for Nancy Pelosi. And I know that because, I don't know if you were following this, but the White House and the Democrats, and I was chairing the Black Caucus, and
Yes.
it's slowly not happening. She pulled it out. And she made sure with her tough love, and I always say Nancy, demonstrated her tough love, made sure the White House and our Democratic caucus got on board, because we had negotiated, amended, negotiated. It was about time we do that. And so she did that. She, of course, President Obama, but Nancy Pelosi got us to that point where President Obama was able to sign the Affordable Care Act into law. And now here, of course, she's announcing her retirement, and we're about to lose if the Republicans don't understand how they're going to destroy people's lives by not making sure that healthcare is dealt with appropriately in this shutdown. And so she was a major player in healthcare. Also, I have to just say this, it's so much, because she was not only a leader in San Francisco, the Bay Area, California, the state, she was a global leader. Now, I was on the Appropriations Committee. I was the ranking member and then the chair of the committee that funded everything international. So I've traveled the world with Nancy Pelosi. I was in the Munich Security Conference with her when Zelensky came, and I've been with her in Poland and all over Eastern Europe and Africa. The year of the return, she led the delegation to Ghana with John Lewis, and I was right there. I helped her organize that.
Wait a minute, Nancy Pelosi was in Ghana. I remember she had on kente cloth.
Yeah, she had on kente, and she was the first speaker of the United States to speak in the Ghanaian parliament, mind you. Okay, and I mean, it's like she was a major world player and world leader. And so being with her at COP27, that was at Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, the global climate conference. World leaders listened to Nancy Pelosi, and she steered the conversation and the direction of the agenda on climate and climate justice. Also, when you talk about her tough love and how she helped myself and other Black women and women of color break through on our policy agenda, a couple of things. When I went to Congress, I wanted to deal with HIV and AIDS. It was killing people, Black people in Oakland, Alameda County, San Francisco, throughout the world, right? And so I told Nancy that was a big mandate I had and I wanted to deal with it. She said, yes, she came to Congress to address HIV and AIDS too. So she said, go on to Durban, South Africa for the International AIDS Conference, right? But I knew I had to get back for votes. April, I went to Durban for 24 hours with President Mandela to that AIDS conference. I don't know if you remember yellow t-shirts, breaking the silence.
Yes.
I came back to the House floor and Nancy said, look, Barbara, you just got back, but let me tell you what they did. They took out $41 million from the appropriations bill that addressed HIV and AIDS. She says, now I think we can get it back, but I want you to do it. I said, you want me to do it? She said, yeah, I'll show you how. And so there was an amendment that she helped me put together, helped me develop the strategy. Do you know what? And this is very unusual. I went to the floor after flying back from South Africa for 24 hours, built the support really quickly because she had paved the way. I introduced that amendment to restore 41 million and it got back into the budget that night. I'll never forget that. That night I got back from Durban. Now, I wouldn't have been able to do that had it not been for her. She didn't even have to tell me that it was coming down. So that was the kind of woman she was, right? And then let me just say this. I got two more things on her.
That's why you're here to tell us.
You're always asking me questions. Two more things I want to highlight. The Hyde Amendment, April, the Hyde Amendment restricts Black women and women of color from accessing a full range of reproductive health care, including abortion, because of the Hyde Amendment. So when I went to Congress, I said, we've got to get rid of the Hyde Amendment. Everybody, oh, no, we can't do that. I said, well, it's discriminatory. And so Nancy understood that, but it was like, oh, no, that's the third rail. You don't do that. But then she said, well, you bring me the votes. Okay, I couldn't get the votes. It took me 2 or 3 years to organize around the country with the All Above All Coalition to bring people to the table where finally I got enough votes. So I went to Nancy. I said, Nancy, okay, the votes? Okay, let's meet. And so we had a meeting in her office. And I said, okay, I got enough votes. Let's repeal the Hyde Amendment. And she made me go through everybody because she could count. And finally, she said, let's do it. So she supported the repeal of the Hyde Amendment. We did it 2 or 3 times on the floor. Of course, in the Senate, they killed our repeal. But that just shows you how she taught us all how to be leaders in a hard, crass world. And then the other piece of this is there had never been a Black woman as the Democratic caucus representative to the United Nations, right?
Yeah.
So the late Don Payne, who I love dearly, who was a mentor to me with foreign policy. We went to Sudan together, Darfur, declared a genocide. I helped Don with that. So Nancy said, okay, you want to be that, Don? I said, yeah, I want to be the representative to the United Nations. So Nancy nominated me, and I was the representative under Barack Obama. She always says, don't tell people, but I nominated her, but Donald Trump appointed her through Trump at the UN and through Biden. So I was the first and only Black woman representative to the United Nations from the Democratic caucus. So I'm sharing these stories because these are the kind of efforts that are behind the scene that maybe nobody knows about Nancy Pelosi, and how when she appointed me in leadership, I had a chance then to make sure that the squad and other members got the committee assignments that they wanted, where had I not been in the room, it could have maybe dropped off the table, you know? And so, but she made sure that everyone's voice was heard, and that I had a voice that represented so many that did not have a voice at that table.
So she seemed very inclusive. Listening to your conversation, watching her announcement today, she had people like Fannie Lou Hamer in the announcement, and John Lewis, the late civil rights icon. And in that, just as you said, talking about HIV and AIDS, she talked about HIV and AIDS in San Francisco, in the Bay Area, you know, the harshness of it and what she achieved. But how did she achieve this? And there's two parts to this. How did she achieve this as a woman in a white male dominated fraternity? And then also, did she bring her family ethics in how to manage? Because she talked about how she looked at her children, how she dealt with her children, because everybody had a different issue. How did she do all of that? Being a
Yeah.
woman,
Well, she had 5 kids, first
yeah,
of all, 5 children who I know who are phenomenal, and grandchildren. So to manage all of that is a lot. And she had them right after the other, you know, so she managed 5 children. At the same time, she was the chair of the California State Democratic Party. So she knew how to, she knew time management, she knew how to micromanage, and she knew how to juggle. And that's what you have to do with Democrats, especially. And so she knew and she knew all of our personalities in our districts, because a lot of times, you know, experiencing her tough love was, you ask Maxine or Lynn Woolsey or any of them, it would be like, okay, Barbara, we need your vote. This got to pass. No, Madam Speaker, my district is not there. She said, you'll never lose an election. Come on, we got to get this passed. Like when, I'm going to tell you this one, this is an example of how she did it. I never voted for the defense budget. Never, ever. It's bloated. Waste, fraud, and abuse is rampant. It keeps flunking audits a whole bit. When we were about to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell for the LGBTQ plus community, right, in the military, Barney Frank and Nancy were working it, rightfully so. And the Republicans ended up putting it in a must-pass bill, which is the defense bill, right? The Defense Authorization Act. And they knew I wasn't going to vote for it because it was in defense, right? But Nancy came to me and said, Barbara, this bill can go down. Now, we know you're principled, and we know your district, and we know you never vote for this. I said, yes, you're right. She said, you're not going to lose an election by voting for this. I said, but it's wrong for me to vote for it. I'm not going to do it. Then she told me, I said, it's not about politics, it's about what I believe. Then she said, but the Republicans have put a poison pill in it. They put in the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I said, oh, Jesus. So I ended up voting for it. So the gay community would have the justice that the LGBTQ community deserved. But that was a hard vote. But it was Nancy and Barney Frank who, with their tough love, got me to do that, you know. And so and so that's how she operated. And, you know, she knew us all. She knew our districts. And could say, stop BSing me. Your district's not like you because you're doing this or doing that. And so, you know, she knew how to manage, but she always gave us space to figure it out on our end and support us in these efforts.
So, Madam Chair, I want to go to the chat real quick, because you have given us so much and people are showing up. They are so thankful for these stories. And I'm so glad. I just want to give you some flowers because you know what you mean to me. And I texted you, you said, okay, let's make it happen. She was like, let's do it, because she wanted to talk about Nancy Pelosi today.
You know, the truth and give people stories through your voice and through your medium, April, and nobody else has. Nobody believes any of this stuff in the media anymore, you know.
That's why you have to have receipts with the people there talking about it. So
Right.
I want to go to the chat. Diane says, on Pelosi, the legend she is will live on in all the strong young women she has mentored. Sharon says, thank you for giving credit when it's due. Kay Bacon says, Trump is always a sore loser. Yes.
Yeah, see what he said today. I mean, you know what my mother said? Consider the source.
The source. Yes. That's what.
Consider the source.
Yes.
Please.
Shauna says, so appreciate you sharing all this from rural Washington State. Thank you, Shauna. Janine says, she is a warrior, tough but classy. That part.
Don't talk about Armani suits. I got a story about that.
Tell us about the Armani suits. She was dressed to the T. She was sharp.
Oh, loved her clothes. And let me tell you, I love Armani, but they're past my budget. I can't afford Armani, although there is a discount Armani. I know where it is.
Is it in Oakland? Because I'll come.
I know where it is. I'm not going to tell, though. But what happened
Don't
was...
share if you can't tell.
I'm telling, but it's significantly lower. So, and I very seldom get a chance to go there. But years ago, I was able to get an Armani suit. And we had the Warriors parade. They had won the championship. She came over to Oakland and we had a big parade over here and the whole bit. That evening, there was a big fundraiser with President Obama in San Francisco, right? So I show up in my blue Armani suit with a gold blouse. Guess who shows up in her blue Armani suit and a gold blouse?
Bookends.
And President Obama looks at us, everybody looks and said, whoa. And Nancy and I, we had a good time. And I whispered, I said, how much you pay for yours? She told me, I said, guess how much I paid for mine? And it was the exact suit.
So you got the good bargain. Okay.
It was the exact suit.
Is the store still there? I'm going to text you for where that is. And you're going to have to tell me. All right. So Nancy says she helped lift up many women and make progress happen in the best ways. Nellie says so much respect and admiration for these trailblazing California congressional leaders. I'm so inspired by this. Exclamation, exclamation. Thank you. Vivian said, no man has had the success that Nancy achieved in Congress. Sarah said, Madam Speaker Pelosi, legend, icon, gangster from Baltimore. Omar said, I'm so proud of Mayor Barbara Lee, one of the great advocates and leaders of our time, a sister of conscience. And Sally says she's a great role model for women. That's right. But yeah, you are in your own right. Just, my God, your life has been service. I mean, from the very beginning. And I just so appreciate your openness and everything you've done. For people who don't know, I mean, you worked with the Black Panther Party in Oakland. You not only did that, but you were the youth advisor, if I'm correct, the college youth advisor for the late, great Shirley Chisholm.
I organized her Northern California campaign. Watch movie Shirley.
That's right. They were talking all about you in the movie.
There's a character.
Congresswoman Barbara Lee.
Character Barbara Lee.
Yeah. Barbara. She said, my child. What did she say? My child.
She said little girl.
Little girl. That's right. I was like,
little girl to the day she died. I have video of her calling me that when I won the California State Senate seat. I'll send it to you so you can see it.
But that was out of respect, because look at who you are now. The little girl done good. And just everything you've done for abortion, everything that you've done. And then for you, you sit at the seat of power. You learn and you sit at the seat of power and take it on. And now you're the mayor of Oakland, California. Are you in harm's way right now? Are you a target of Trump?
Well, you know, he trashed us. We're ready. He's threatened us. We're ready. And we're keeping the city safe. We don't cooperate with ICE. We're circling the wagons on our immigrant community. We're not letting Donald Trump divide and conquer Black folks from brown folks from white folks. We're not going to let Donald Trump send his army in to occupy us, to try to create chaos. So then he believes he would have an excuse to bring them in to occupy and militarize Oakland. So we're ready. We know what we're faced with. And remember, nobody in Oakland knows Donald Trump and his regime like Barbara Lee. I was sitting on the floor of the House of Representatives with Nancy on January 6th and barely made
Right.
it and barely made it out of there. And also, you know, I served 4 years with him when saw Project 2025 from the Republicans before Donald Trump. So I know that playbook really well. And so here in Oakland, we're working all hands on deck. Our employees are ready. Our emergency services, you know, our police don't cooperate with ICE, and our immigrant community, they're traumatized and they're terrorized, not terrified. And we're really circling the wagons, raising money, doing everything we can do to help them. And of course, now with the shutdown, help people who are food insecure, because we have a lot of poverty here in Oakland, and Black and brown people, seniors, our children are hungry too. So that's what we're working on this week, and we'll continue to do so.
And I know you are, because I remember a conversation with you during COVID. You were like, I'm a social worker now, trying to make sure people are getting their money, businesses, and just keeping things like. I appreciate you for all you do and for showing up. And my team, we know we got to come to Oakland. We are coming to Oakland.
Hey, and April, let me tell you, the Black Panther Party Museum, we just had the 30th anniversary of the Black Panther Party. You got to come see this museum. It's on Broadway. Erica, you know, Frederica Newton, who's Huey.
Yes, Huey P. Newton
runs it. I mean, this is like a big deal. Everybody, international guests are coming to Oakland to visit the Black Panther Party Museum. You need to come and do a show from there, okay?
My team, I say yes. Rachel, Lily, and Julia, y'all hear that? They said yes. We heard. I'm sure. Yeah. So
Erica Huggins, you have Emory Douglas, who was the artist. You have Elaine Brown. You have Bobby Seale. We just named a street after Bobby Seale in Oakland. He was the first mayoral candidate I worked with. I was his finance director. So y'all got to come out and get some of this Black power history and legacy infused into our overall message on Black power and Black empowerment and democracy, because we really are the heart and soul of the peace and justice movement.
free clinics, feeding the kids. That's just two of the things.
Sickle cell anemia.
Yes.
The only way the U.S. government ever spelled sickle cell anemia was because of the Black Panther Party.
That's what I'm saying. They did more than open carry with the leather jacket.
It's legal to open if you have an open carry. Then you know what I mean?
Yes.
And
yes.
that was the law of the land. You know. So anyway,
But we can't do that now.
The other thing is COINTELPRO. J. Edgar Hoover, when I was involved with the Black Panther Party, was vicious. Okay, and he created all this havoc, like Donald Trump is trying to create havoc. So that story needs to be told, and you would be great telling it right here in the Black Panther Party Museum.
Yeah, okay, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. But I wanna leave on a viral note with you, with Nancy Pelosi, then Speaker of the House. There's one more viral clip I want to play before I say goodbye. Team, let's play that. She popped that collar after that meeting, that contentious meeting with Donald Trump. She came out and was like, yes.
Yeah, and you know what she always said? She sat at that table, looked around. She was the only woman there, and she felt the weight of who she was and the voice and the presence of herself as being the only woman at that table, and knew what she had to do.
Well, you know what? She was in the room where it happens, and you are also in the room where it happens. We thank you so much, as I coined from Hamilton, in the room where it happens, in the room where it happens. The mayor of Oakland, California, none other than Barbara Lee. I'm telling you,
Thank you.
I'm so honored. Thank you. And I love how you have a glow now. The sun is just shining just right on your shoulders and on your pink. Yes,
It feels good too, because I guess cold here in Oakland, you know.
I hear you, but you please send me the information for the Armani outlet, because everybody's asking for that now on the chat. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, take care of yourself. Nice
you.
being with you. Thanks for being our voice. Okay.
Thank you for always showing up. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Let me tell you guys, this is just the awesomeness of this moment, to have the mayor of Oakland, California, who was close to Nancy Pelosi. It's just a stone's throw that it's Well, there is an ocean that separates them, but they're close. And they're close in proximity and close in relationship. And to hear from someone who sits next to, worked with, whipped up votes, etc., in a moment of need, we're still in need. We are still in need. So Nancy Pelosi is handing it off to the next generation. Nancy Pelosi is moving into her next chapter of life after she saw the wins Tuesday or November 4th. She felt comfortable saying, I now hand it over. I am not offering a reelection bid. So Nancy Pelosi from Baltimore, from San Francisco, and the mayor of Oakland says from Oakland too, hats off to you. I'm so proud of that Baltimorean. I am so proud of that Baltimore. That's Baltimore's own. No matter what anyone says, that's Baltimore's own. But now I want to talk about some of the other news. Before we go on to our next guest, my dear friend, Sheryl Ralph. She's my friend, my soror. I love that woman. Yes, Sheryl Ralph, the iconic A-listing actress. She's amazing. We're going to have a conversation. I talked to her on election day. She was in Philadelphia at that time. And I'm going to play that interview for you. We had a good time talking. That's my girlfriend. That's my friend. And we are going to let you in on some of what we talked about. But in this moment, I do want to talk about some news, all right? We are still in the government shutdown, now considered the longest government shutdown in history. I wrote a piece yesterday chronicling why Donald Trump is the biggest loser. And it all deals around the economics, the shutdown, the things that he's doing. I wrote it for Black Press USA. And I'm gonna tell you, in this moment, guess what? Credit companies, be it automotive, be it credit cards, be it other agencies, they're reporting an increase in delinquencies. I wonder why. I wonder why. He's tanking the economy on his own, talking about, oh, everything is fine. He even tried to say that Thanksgiving prices are going to be lower this year. How are they lower when the price of eggs and everything else is up? And then people don't have money to buy a turkey. Tone deaf, tone deaf. All right, snap. So guys, you remember last Friday, a judge said the White House was wrong. They got to give that SNAP back, give that SNAP money back, right? November 1, people didn't have their SNAP money. The judge said that. Now the White House comes back saying they have to do this by tomorrow. The White House comes back saying that they can only do 65% of it by tomorrow. That's still not the full benefits. They're not doing what the judge said. So either way, this is what the White House says. Now, also tomorrow, if you're flying out, if you've been like me, the last 10 weeks, I've been flying coast to coast from BWI, Thurgood Marshall Airport, all the way over to LAX every week and coming back on the red eye. Don't ask me how I did it. But starting tomorrow, there will be a reduction in passengers, the number of passengers flying out from 40 major airports, all to accommodate the government shutdown. Safe skies to help with the air traffic controllers and TSA, I guess. Now, supposedly, there's going to be 175 to 200 flights being canceled at major airports because of this. 175 to 200 flights canceled because of this. So you need to watch out. Now, all right, there's another story. This week has just been chock full of news. And I got to bring you in on this. I've covered 5 presidents over 28 years. Wow. And I've seen history to include the first Black First Lady. I'm a Black woman in America who has worked at the White House. And there are times I wanted to wear braids, but I said, I don't think they can handle that because I would be perceived as militant, what have you. I wanted to continue to keep up with this conservative atmosphere because of the atmosphere. And you know who spoke to that? The former First Lady of the United States with her new book. And now she's gone viral. You know who made it viral? That Megyn Kelly, that same woman who talked about Santa Claus isn't Black. Well, in my house, Santa Claus is not only Black, Santa Claus is a Black woman. You get it. So anyway, I want you guys to listen to this, and we're going to talk on the other side of this about this hair thing. I want you to take a look at this, guys. Roll the tape, please.
You say in the book, I kept my hair straight throughout the White House years so it would not be a distraction or a talking point. I knew there was absolutely no way that the first Black First Lady could show up in braids. Was that a hard choice for you?
You know, it wasn't hard because the job was more important than the statement.
Right.
I wanted to make sure that my work spoke before my clothes or my, the way I showed up in the world, although I knew that the clothes sent a message.
Yeah.
But I think it was important that at some point as a public figure, I wore my hair natural and in braids, because I do believe strongly that all women, we should have the choice about how we wear our hair, what we look like, and it should not be subject to commentary, particularly by men who know nothing about what goes on. And how Black women in particular wear their hair is their business.
Yes.
It is not a statement of some kind of lack of professionalism.
No.
We all come to this world in a different way.
So what she's saying is she's bitter because society's standards, in her view, don't allow Black women to just walk around with their natural hair. That is bullshit. Black women can walk around with whatever hair they want. Only in Michelle Obama's warped mind do white people not like them unless their hair looks like white hair. And here's the other thing. The nerve of this woman to pretend that Black women are the only women who have to spend a bunch of time getting their natural hair to, quote, conform to these alleged society standards. Because virtually every woman I know, every woman spends a shit ton of time on her hair and wants it to look better than God made it. It's not a Black thing. It's a human thing, and it's especially a woman thing. But she's always reducing everything to race.
Megyn Kelly, get a life. Megyn Kelly, get a life. First of all, Michelle Obama did not say she was bitter. She understood the societal norms. Let's go there. Instead of always trying to do a clickbait to get more viewers because it's Michelle Obama. So remember when Michelle Obama first came to the White House? I remember this so clearly. Her hair was coiffed beautiful, whether she had pieces or not, it was nice and straight. But what did the New Yorker magazine do? They had her and Barack Obama as militants, her with a kind of froey kind of thing. They made her out to be militant. And see, that natural hair, that's what the idea is of certain people in America, that natural hair is militant, that natural hair is anti anything. It's not patriotic. How about that? Megyn Kelly, since it's not a problem, why don't you go on your show wearing a Bo Derek look? Remember the movie 10 when she ran across the beach with her hair cornrowed? Why don't you do that and see what people say? When we wear our hair that way, people like to say, oh, it's not professional. Oh, it's unkept. Michelle Obama represented the whole nation, and she had to do something that conformed for the whole nation. If you did that in New Yorker and she wasn't even wearing her hair like that, what would you have done? So you're the race baiter playing this game. I'm over it, Megyn Kelly. Moving on. So guys, I'm so sick of that kind of stuff. It makes me sick. Let's go to the chat. And Black hair is complicated. It is so complicated. It's complicated. I'm not going to be the therapist about it, but I am writing a book. And hair is a chapter in that book, Black hair in particular. But look at what happened. Think about this. Hair is such a big deal in the Black community. What happened at the Oscars? There was a slap over alopecia, Black hair, the loss of it. Guys, I don't even want to get into it, but it's a deep, deep issue. It's deeper than this little trite conversation and that crazy laughter from the guy Megyn Kelly had on her show. But nonetheless, I don't want to get upset over it because consider the source. Let's go to the chat. Don says, beware of people. This is about the conversation with Mayor Barbara Lee. Don, beware of people wearing fake ICE apparel and wearing masks. FBI recent warning. Yes. John, he will just have another Gatsby party talking about Donald Trump. Let them eat cake. Nancy, same old tactics, delay, delay, delay. Omar, all that beautiful blackness, April. Thank you, Omar. Iris, Megyn Kelly is a piece of work. I can't say what I want to say. Julie, yes, blonde people explain the Black experience to us. That part. Nellie, this is sickening. Kelly, oh my gosh. But glad you are sharing, April. Carol, they had a cow over Michelle showing her arms. Yes, those arms were buff. They were fit. She worked out. I'm not, child, we're not worrying about Megyn Kelly. And Terry A says, Megyn Kelly has absolutely no business commenting on Michelle Obama's hair. Not at all. I can't wait for her to wear her Bo Derek hair, her own hair, right? I want to see if she goes cornrowed on the air and what people have to say. Nonetheless, so we have more pressing issues to talk about. I know my team is like, we are going over. So here's the deal. Also on Jamaica, we haven't really publicly heard a lot of information about help for Jamaica after Melissa hit and destroyed Jamaica. But let me tell you this. I understand Congresswoman Yvette Clarke out of New York is working with the State Department actively to make sure that things are happening. She's Jamaican, of Jamaican descent herself. So there is active help going on, or active efforts to help Jamaica from the U.S. side. We haven't heard about this, but in the news, but I'm getting word that's what's happening. So as we talk about Jamaica, I interviewed one of Jamaica's most famous residents, other than Bob Marley, the late Bob Marley. It was Shirley Ralph. I talked to her. I talked to my friend, my soror, on election day. And I want to bring you in on this conversation. Here you go. Everyone, welcome to this special edition of The Tea with April, part of the Contrarian programming. I am so honored. I am so honored to bring forth my friend, my soror. Yes, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. That's right. But most of all, she is lauded for Abbott Elementary, award-winning. Yes, honey. Thank you. I am an endangered species. Come on. Not only that, let's go Moesha, let's go The Mighty Quinn, let's go Dream Girls, the original on Broadway, and let's go Madame Morrible in Wicked on Broadway, right? The first Black Madame Morrible.
That's right.
None other than the great Shirley Ralph, actress, activist, and just all around great human being.
Thank you, my sister. Thank you very much on this election day.
That part, and that's why we are here. We've been planning on talking, but Cheryl said, I want to talk to you on election day. You're in Philadelphia this day.
Yes, and an amazing thing is happening.
What?
Usually, it's election day. You might go into the polling place and there might be, maybe 10 people. Mm-hmm. Today, 25, maybe 30 people. The folks are actually turning up and out to vote.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is, Sheryl?
You know something? I think we've gotten to a point where people are feeling the pain. And sometimes when people feel the pain, they have a reaction. So you're looking at this election day, and we are in, what is it, over 30 days of the shutdown of our government, where we are now getting ready to say that it is okay for people to starve in America by getting rid of the SNAP program. I mean,
42 million Americans, 42 million Americans.
42 million Americans. Mm-hmm. And if they thought, sometimes, we understand that if you put color on it, like Black, then they don't pay as much attention because they figure that maybe Black people of color should starve, that they don't deserve what everybody else gets. But when you talk about 42 million people
Million.
in America starving. You are not talking about 35 million Black people. You are not talking about 30 million Black people. You're not talking about 25 million Black people, which means, you know who you're really talking about? You're talking about poor white people in America starving.
Woo.
Poor white rural people in America starving. And when America gets to the place where they don't mind poor white people starving, whoa, we are in a very terrible place, because that's where we are. And the comfort with cruelty in America for everybody is stunning.
Not just
Stunning.
poor white people in America, poor white people from where J.D. Vance, the vice president of the United States, came from.
They're not even standing up for their own people.
Right. Exactly.
This is frightening.
Mm-hmm.
There are people, you know, you could be in a state like Pennsylvania, where there is
right now.
no state budget, no state budget, because the other side refuses to come to the table. Do you know who's going to starve when they get rid of those SNAP benefits in Pennsylvania? It's a whole lot of non-urban people. And they're not fighting for them for their education. They're not fighting for them, and they're okay with it, which says to me there's another level of ignorance in America that is crazy.
It's so for people who don't know this, I mean, you see her on television, but let me tell you something. She's not new to this, she's true to this. Not only has she been an advocate and blackballed for her advocacy because of her push and support of those suffering with HIV and AIDS, and she just celebrated her Diva Simply Singing celebration that's been going on how many
35 years.
35 years.
35 years of raising health awareness. And it started out around, like you just said, HIV and AIDS. And, you know, I think 35 years ago, people told me I was stupid, told me I was a loose cannon. Why do I spend so much time with those people? And for me, the little church girl's response was, all I see is those human people. You know, I didn't want to stand in judgment of anybody, because there but for the grace of God go I.
Come on.
And
that's a word. That's a Sunday sermon. But again, she's not new to this. She's true to this. And in her activism 35 years ago, and then we talk about Pennsylvania. There's a reason why we talk about Pennsylvania, because she's married to the great state senator, Vincent Hughes. So she's in this deep. So, and the conversations, and I remember talking to them one time during an election season, a presidential election season. It was a house divided. One was going one way democratically and the other, but they still were coming together in this moment. But this is not that moment. This is a moment we've never seen before, Sheryl. What is your greatest fear? What is your greatest fear?
My greatest fear is that people will lead themselves like lambs to the slaughter and say nothing. We have seen these things take place. You know, I think about history. When you learned history and you studied history, I think about that. And it's like, people, wake up. Do you not see what's going on? You know, all of these made up stories about, I've got to go to Portland, Oregon. I've got to go to Chicago. I've got to go to California. I need to get the armed troops in there. I believe that if we keep on letting this be okay, we will not have proper and fair elections, because he's going to try and shut down our cities, especially progressive, especially democratic cities. We have never seen anything like this, and people have to wake up. Because do you remember that story when we were little, and it was about the emperor, and the emperor had no clothes on, and all of the leaders in the government.
I don't want to see him naked. I don't want to see him naked. Moving on.
But they kept capitulating and bowing down to the emperor, saying, "Oh, you look so good. Your clothing, it's so fine. The gold that you have on." When it took a child to come up and say, "But he's naked. He has nothing." That's what we're dealing with right now. This emperor has nothing. They are a bully. And in every deal that is taking place, you better be sure that money is going into their pocket. How can a man be surrounded by people like, let's say, Mike Johnson? Mike Johnson said that that man should never be around power. Oh, but now that you're Speaker of the House, it's okay. Okay. Cruz, he told Cruz, first of all, your wife is very, very unattractive and you're stupid. And then what?
Little Marco.
JD, come on, Marco Rubio, he has that face on every time something happens that you know he knows better. You know he knows better. What about that time when the now vice president said, "This man is a Nazi.
Hitler.
This man is Hitler." But now that you're VP, it doesn't matter. These things let you know that there is a sickness going on, that everybody who knows better is choosing not to do better. And this comfort with cruelty is sick.
But this cruelty goes even deeper. In California, where you spend a lot of your time, Prop 50, right? There's this redistricting effort across the nation. So to prevent us from having representation, from preventing us having people like your great husband who's been in this for a long time, working for the people. Power means service, right?
Right.
And there's an effort in the Republican Party to redistrict so we don't have representation.
That's right.
It's trying to fix this.
That's right.
Then but in the Supreme Court, you have Louisiana versus Calais, where that could upset the apple cart for the whole nation.
That's right.
What do you think is going to happen in California with Prop 50?
California is going to remain exactly the way it is, paying the kind of taxes that we pay to be a sanctuary city, to be a place that is forward thinking, that trying our best to think about the environment and all of those things in a safe place for the people that choose to live there. But this whole redrawing of the maps, this whole redistricting, people need to remember it started with Abbott, and that was an abomination. And they said that they're drawing their maps so that they can make sure they have proper representation, when really what is happening is they're trying to steal the election that's going to come up soon. That's all it is. They're trying to steal the election by having all the seats that they think they need. Then they didn't think that other people were going to fight back, because they didn't think that there was any heart to fight back, because everybody is bowing down to the naked emperor.
And see, this isn't new. He tried it in Georgia. So why are we, surprised? But we cannot normalize this. So now getting back to other issues, the tariffs.
Well, wait a minute. Let's not leave all these things that are happening, because people thought, and this, people thought Project 2025 was some sort of a hocus pocus and a joke. They thought that this thing, oh no, that they're just making that up. Oh, really? Why do you think they're going after higher education the way they are? Do you think that they just chose, oh, we're just going to give Harvard a difficult time?
Come on, Abbott Elementary. Come on, teacher. Let me tell you. When people lose their process of critical thinking, when they want to strip people of critical thinking and knowledge. Come on, Abbott. Come on, teacher. Abbott Elementary. Come on.
And look, Harvard is going to be, in 12 years, Harvard will be 400 years old. That means Harvard is older than America. That bastion of high education. So now you want to shut them down. You want to shut, and once you shut down the education, then you want to rewrite the history. You want to go into the Smithsonian and tell the African American Museum, the second most visited museum in the whole wide world. No, you can't talk about slavery because that doesn't look good on America. You doggone right, it doesn't look good on America, but it happened. But they're trying to erase that as well.
Shirley Ralph, teach, honey, teach.
Listen, that Project 2025, come on now. People, if people don't get wise, I always think about what happened during World War II when that Hitler started sending all of those leaflets out saying that they were going to collect and round up people, and nobody believed him. And what did he do? He got into power, he collected, he rounded up the people and burned them all up. How about that? And that can happen again, because they're up here rounding up a lot of Hispanic people, talking about, the way they look, the way
we don't know where they're going. They go missing. We don't know where they're going.
Thank you.
They're stealing them off of our streets. We don't know what you are. Absolutely. Teach Shirley Ralph today. We are in class, not Abbott Elementary, but we are in class.
Honey. And now he's trying to bomb the Caribbean. When you start bombing Venezuela, tell me what's next.
Wait a minute. You know what's next? He's trying to go to Nigeria. That is nothing but a holy war.
Do you want to know why they want to go to Nigeria? Nigeria is mineral rich.
The economy. Let me tell you, Nigeria, according to a Pew Research study in 2019, Nigeria was the fifth most Christian populated country in the world. It is the third most Muslim populated country in the world. He's playing this game talking about this violence against Christians. He's trying to wage, if he does this, he's going to wage a holy war. And it's going to be a problem. And he's been going after, we've had this Muslim ban, but he wants to go into another Black nation. And in South Africa, he's trying to bring out the white Afrikaners. The first time I asked, Mr. President, are you a racist? We don't have to ask that anymore.
Thank you. Thank you. And he will come for us. He will come for us.
So Cheryl, I want to say this. People are probably saying, "Oh, she's so far removed." No, she's not. No, she's not. They're like, "Oh, she's in Hollywood. She's so far removed." You are of Jamaican ancestry. You are in Hollywood where you have tariffs as well. When the seasons are off, you're off. You got to find where you're doing the same thing as everybody else trying to find work. And you told me a couple of weeks ago that you said, with this federal shutdown and things, grants for people who want to do projects are also shut down. So that you all are being hit as well, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Oh my God, when you start seeing small entertainment industry start to just dwindle down, and then when you see the large studios being sold off, parceled off, my God, if something doesn't happen, everything about America it'll be like Melissa hitting Jamaica. You don't know what you're looking at anymore because it's gone. And 250 years coming up for the United States of America, and for us to be in this state in the history of our nation, it's a crazy, sad thing, because I never thought I would see this. I never thought that we would be in this position.
Are you shocked that that the United States has not offered help for Jamaica? I mean, it's total devastation. And I remember we were with you in Philadelphia for your marriage. What do you call it? Your
renewal of vows.
Your renewal of vows. And then immediately following that, I traveled to Jamaica on August 1. And you were like, "Oh, it's our Independence Day and celebrate." And I remember Jamaica. It was hot. It felt like I was in HE double hockey sticks, but it was beautiful. It was so beautiful. And now to see the devastation, and then I'm not hearing any one word from anyone talking about helping the people. I'm not hearing it from this country. What are your thoughts about that?
You know what? right about now, I'm trying to tell everybody we're all Jamaican. If you've ever bobbed and rocked to reggae music, if you've ever gone down to Jamaica and enjoyed the beach, now is the time to help Jamaica. But it's to find the trusted places to go to make your donations. Don't go down there unless you have specialized training and are able to help. You know, there was a group of Californians that went down, and there was this one shack just blown down. Do you know what they found? This old woman hanging on to life. And she looked like she was on the verge of dying. If they had not come to clear the wreckage, they would have never found this woman. But that's what's going on, and it's terrible. It's exactly 1 week later, and there are some people that have not had anybody come to help them. Nobody. The school that my parents helped build, they've lost their roof. The kids, they're trying to figure out where we're going to put these kids. How are we going to get them back into school? All of these things. And it's like, I can see where we're going afterwards, but how do we start to get the help there now? It's rough. You know, my kids have started something, Walk Good LA. If you go to their website, Walk Good LA, if you go to the Diva Foundation website, you can go there and make donations as we're making plans for what has got to take place. The rebuilding.
And Walk Good LA was very prominent in the fires. You guys were really helping. And that's what I'm saying, guys. She's not new to this, and she brought her kids along. They're not new to this. They're true to this. So you might see her being the diva, but she's also a servant of the people. And that's one of the reasons why I just love this woman so much.
Thank you.
But speaking of service, one of the issues that you really wanted to discuss was health. In this moment, healthcare. That's the holdup. You know, I saw a white woman on social media say, I thought I voted for Trump. I thought this was all about the migrants. What's going on? I don't have SNAP or healthcare now.
I say a lot of people were led by their isms, and they thought that pickenism, any ism, probably a racism. They thought that if they could collect and round up all of those brown people that speak this other language, that's going to solve all of our problems. We tried that when there was a war, and they said, we're going to round up all those Japanese. You know, we've done this too many times in America. It solves nothing. And when you get rid of Hispanic people in LA, a lot of the workforce that you did not consider has been erased. There's also another thing when you talk about the ism, a lot of Hispanic people voted for the orange man. They voted for him because they did not see themselves as people of color. They saw themselves as Europeans. And so many of them said, I'm a good person, so he's not talking about me. And
how did they think he was going to differentiate between them and the other person? Did they think that he would secretly know their ballot? I
don't know what they thought, but to see, when I said out loud, when they are rounding up your abuelita, and you don't know where she is, how will you feel? They thought you just don't understand what's going on. And, you know, it's like, you didn't understand what was going on. Now look what's happening. You have got to be in LA to see when these ICE people roll up on the Home Depot and folks start scattering. Girl, please, don't get me started. Don't get me started. But, you know, at least it's not as heinous as those stories that your grandmother or your great grandmother used to tell you about how you would go to us, Black folks used to go to church, and they have to make sure the women walk in the woods so that they weren't picked up and raped, you know, after church, or them picking up a Black man after church, then lynching him, and then going back to church in the afternoon to have dinner. We know those stories. We know our own roundup stories.
Yes.
Now they're not too much different.
So let me say this, and I know you've got a lot to do, and you're in Pennsylvania on election day, and I so appreciate you. But I want to leave us with this, all these isms, as you said. Recently, I talked to the former head of the Commission on Civil Rights, Mary Frances Berry. And also, I talked to Jonathan Jackson, Congressman of Chicago, Illinois, whose dad is Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Yes.
Both of them said, and Jonathan Jackson was speaking for his dad. He said, look, you talk about civil rights back then. This is the civil rights movement now.
Right now.
Right
This is it.
now.
This is it.
Yes, this is it. This is it. And it takes, Sheryl, we the people.
Yes.
Still forming a more perfect union. It ain't over.
It is not over. It cannot be over. And just like Reverend Jackson said so long ago, we must keep hope alive. We must not give up the fight. We must continue to organize, strategize so that we can move forward, because there is such a thing as the 2025 project, and they are working it and trying to erase we the people.
Come on. And Shirley Ralph said it with her whole chest. They're trying to erase we the people. You are always a good time. You are always a good time, even in the most serious of moments.
And this is that.
It is.
This is that.
It is. This is an A-lister who's been blackballed for her activism and continues it, because in Hollywood, you're not supposed to talk like this, right? You're not supposed to, for fear of alienating people. This is bold. What does she have to lose?
It's like I say to myself, when you know better, you must do better. I see people who I know better, not doing better. And what are you teaching our children? Because believe it or not, they do pay attention. They do watch. They are listening. And I want them to understand, all those things you learned in kindergarten. Holding hands with each other, you can create a strong bond. We do not treat each other badly. We do not bully each other. And kindness really matters. And learning your ABCs and 1, 2, 3s is very important, because ignorant people will perish.
If you don't know what she's talking about, go watch Schoolhouse Rock. Go look it up. Shirley Ralph, you are always informing and knocking the pot over. Thank you for sipping tea with me on the Tea with April.
Thank you.
I love you, my sister.
Love you, my soror. Take care, baby.
Ooh.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye. That was some good tea. Oh, my soror. And if you're wondering what sorority, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, yes, she is my friend, my soror. I just love me some Shirley Ralph. And guys, watch Abbott Elementary. Watch everything that she's been in. Support that sister because she supports us. I want to go to the chat. Diana, thank you, Sheryl, for breaking barriers in Bedford. Sarah, amen, Sheryl. We are all God's children. Mark, love Mom Dami. Turn up the volume. Claiborne says, the emperor has no clue. Katie, history has a way of repeating itself. Cairo says, that's right. We're all Jamaicans. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And again, I found out that Congresswoman Yvette Clarke out of New York is working with the State Department to send help to Jamaica after Melissa, the devastation of Melissa. We haven't really heard the president. Are we surprised? We haven't really heard the president talk about Jamaica, but there are efforts to help. Matter of fact, I think I'm gonna write a story on it. And I want you guys to know also, Monday, if you're in the Washington, D.C. area, please come at 7 p.m. to Politics and Prose. I'm hosting yet another Race in America panel discussion. It's our 10th year at Politics and Prose. Guess who's going to be with me on the panel? None other than Nicole Hannah-Jones of the 1619 Project and that guy, Don Lemon. We're going to have a conversation at 7 p.m. They're going to be selling their books and signing. Come out. It's in Washington, D.C., Politics and Prose on Connecticut Avenue. See you there. Also, I need you guys to call in. Tell us what you think. Omar, Vivian, Cairo, all of you, call in and tell us what you think, or your conversations, comments, whatever questions. I need you to call in at 202-240-8617. We'll play your comments or questions on the next show. With that said, it has been a pleasure. I've gone over time. My team is mad at me, but it's worth it today. I've gone over time, but I thank you for sipping tea with me yet again every Thursday at 5 o'clock. The tea is piping hot and good. Today, dandelion and soursop. If you don't know, ChatGPT it. Thank you so much. I'll see you next Thursday, and hopefully I'll see you Monday as well. You'll meet some of the team from The Contrarian and the Tea with April on Monday at Politics and Prose in Washington, D.C. Guys, thank you for your time. Thank you for being who you are in this moment in this country. We need you. We, the people, who are still forming a more perfect union as we sip our tea. See you later.